Hello people and welcome to the Counterfactual Stories YouTube channel. Today we will talk about Global Championship 2 and how Giri beats Radjabov in Armageddon. But before we start, don't forget to press subscribe button. Anish Giri hit back after Teimour Radjabov come back to clinch a semi-final spot in the chess.com Global Championship against Nihil Sarin, who himself came back against Sam Sevian, the other semi-finalist, guaranteed at least $50,000, as Wesley saw, and Hikaru Nakamura, with Wesley surprisingly wrapping up his match first, while Jan-Krzysztof Duda beat Hikaru twice on demand. The chess.com Global Championship semi-final spots have been decided. All four players are guaranteed $50,000, while the winners will be guaranteed $100,000 and will take home $2,100 if they win the event. That's pretty much money. If there was one apparent certainty going into the day 2 of the finals, it was that Hikaru Nakamura would beat Jan-Krzysztof Duda. He led 4-0 and needed to draw just one of the remaining 4 rapid games to take a spot in the semi-finals. In the end, however, he was made to sweat. Hikaru later confessed in his wrap-up. I think the main takeaway for me as I move to the semi-finals and play Wesley is that I need to stay sharp at all time. Again, with the 4-0 lead, I was definitely a little bit lackadaisical in that first game we played today, and I definitely set a bad trend for the day. When Duda met e4 with e6, you could wonder, at least for a moment, if he was planning to do a reverse bon cloud after his e3, king e2 the day before. He proved nothing of the spot. However, since he played the Fort Knox variation and with some help from Hikaru, got a very promising position. The game swung between a big advantage for black to equally before Duda finally took the full point. In the second game, Hikaru tried to shut things down by going for a line of the Catalan Ian Nepomniachtchi played against Magnus Carlsen in Dubai. It meant giving Duda an extra pawn, but one which was notoriously tough to convert into a win. Given all, the action was one side of the board. Nevertheless, Duda played a near-perfect game as he cranked up the pressure and finally managed to break through for a second win in a row. Duda still needed to win 2 more games on demand and went for the Sicilian in the game 3, but Hikaru c3 proved to be a good choice. The US star played a fine game, temporarily giving up 2 pawns for an attack on the black king. Hikaru emerged an exchange up and comfortably went to a win. Hikaru will now play Wesley, who never looked back after getting a lost position the day before in the first game against Dmitry Andriakin, and then missing a mate in 2 before it ended in a draw he commanded. I'm very happy and very relieved because I think the quality of my games, except maybe the first game, has been relatively high for my standards. I'm playing much better than I expected to be because I just came from 2 tournaments that didn't go so well, so maybe the third time the charm. Dmitry Andriakin went into the day 2 trailing by 2 points and decided drastic measures were needed. Here in a difficult position, he went bishop it's e3 and f it's a3, queen it's e3. According to the computer, were complete on move 19 were completely winning, but Wesley explained that he played move 19 rook d1, having seen the line that occurred in the game where places were traded, and in the end he won the pawn on h6. He went on to convert that advantage into a win. Wesley then needed just a draw to clinch the match, so the Dmitry first move b4 was underestimably desperation. Wesley damned it with faint praising by stating it is better opening than the Bong cloud. The outcome looked likely to be the same as when Duda tried to bonk out against Hikaru, but after dominating most of the game, Wesley gave one last chance to his opponent. As it was, Wesley had beaten Hikaru in the race to reach the semi-finals. The remaining two finals were much closer, and in future the only match we were playing trailing on day one managed to come back. That was 18 years old Indian star Nihil Sarin, who had survived a lost position against Sam Sevian in the final game on day one, and now spotted something Sam had missed in the time trouble when he played on the move 30, bishop e2. Nihil Sarin then used the momentum to take a lead with an utterly convincing win in the next game. After that, however, it was all about clinching on. Sevian was completely winning the next game, but again lost his way with no time to think. Sam was never quite so winning in the final game, but still had a huge advantage with the black pieces until he misplayed it, letting Nihil take over. Nihil could have won the final position, but instead took the draw that was all needed to advance. The final match to finish went all the way to Armageddon, thought that didn't seem likely after Anish Giri won the first game of the day against Teimour Radjabov in crushing style. That put him in a win away from the semi-finals, but in the next game he was on the ropes, then surviving in a rook endgame and then again lost. He summed it up later on: "I am really happy because at some point the match was slipping away from me. I was in a commanding position after the first game today. It was a good game, so there were no worrying signs, but then I collapsed, but in a strange way. I was collapsing in the middle game, but then in the end I would get chances in both of these games when I was down on seconds. The last one especially, that I had this exchange down, everything was already ready and I just blundered this thing." Anish hit the table in frustration as Teimour accepted a gift on a piece with on the move 51. What helped Anish recover from the dark moments? First of all, Danny Ranch gave me another hug today, and hugs, they really work, especially if they're from Danny. Also, I heard from my wife my kids were watching, so I thought it should show the good example. He was also perhaps given a boost when Teimour Radjabov acquired a 19-move draw with the white pieces in the final normal game. That was puzzling decision signed for the Armageddon game that decided the match. Teimour also showed he wanted the white pieces as he bid to have 14 minutes and 30 seconds with black. Anish bid a modest 13 minutes and 1 second and therefore got black with advantage that he only needed a draw to win the match. He went on to play a perfect game where he was better almost all the way, setting up semi-final against Nihil Sarin. The Nakamura and Giri Nihil Sarin semi-finals are again played over 2 days and up to 8 rapid games with Armageddon to decide a match that ends in a 4-4 tie. I hope you like this episode. Don't forget to press subscribe button and see you very soon. Bye.